and so that cuts down on other collaborators. But it's also incredibly daunting because Tim has the entire thing in his brain, and so we are working very hard to somehow manifest Tim's vision, the vision that Tim had originally in his head.
And how did he manifest it to you originally? Because he has to sell the idea. He has to, I guess, come to you and say, look, I have this idea, it's all in my head. How did you hear it?
Well, we were introduced by a mutual colleague, and then so Tim came to Sheffield, and we sat actually on the Lyceum stage, which is our proscenium arch theatre, with a grand piano, and Tim played me every single part and sang every single role of the entire first act, which lasts about an hour, and I just sat there and laughed and listened.
Tim, did you have any slight thought that you might be able to perform the whole thing by yourself? This could have been a one-man show then, could it?
No, honestly, it's not like the one. It's sort of, I couldn't quite do that. But the truth is that you can sort of sing through because the characters, because it's a comedy and it's a comedy play. As soon as I strayed into the area of people singing harmonies, singing three lines or so together, it sort of fell apart. The characters turned around and sort of looked at me and said, "What are you doing?" Just, if people want to make a cup of tea in this play, they will say, "I want to make a cup of tea." They won't sing it. They will sing things they can't express adequately in their everyday lives, but they won't sing things that they can. So in a way it was an easier job because you sort of can do it. You can. There are 6 people in this. There can't be more than 6. And I, with a little bit of vocal help and variation, you sort of can do the whole thing. It did actually make me think that we got a sense of the piece as a whole, and more than anything of the tone of it, which is the killer thing, because we don't get the comedy right in this. Comedy is our dance, and that we have to get that, we have to nail that.
You know that quote from the first line of Anna Karenina, all happy families are happy in the same way, but all unhappy families differ.
Yeah.
But this isn't necessarily a terribly unhappy family. They function incredibly well, and there is deep love in between them. It's just that life and the mundanities of life is somehow driving them all mad, and Nikki at the centre of it has realised this and is now desperately trying to hold them all together.
Tim, let me ask you about Kinky Boots. You co-wrote the film Kinky Boots, which you'd originally written, and it won 6 Tony Awards. When you were writing that film originally, did you see it had any possibilities, musical possibilities, that it could transfer into a different form?
I didn't, and to be honest, my involvement with the musical has purely been that they've used large chunks, I think, of the text and the text as ideas for lyrics. And my first contact with the musical was Harvey Feinstein emailing me while I was in rehearsals in Sheffield saying, "Just to let you know, nobody's brought us together, but thank you so much for this." And I emailed him back saying, "Well, thank you as a writer for reaching out and doing that, because nobody else has." It's a fascinating process because, of course, the rights are held by other people, and in the same way that it was with Calendar Girls, I wouldn't have been able to write the stage version of that had I not gone back to the rights holders and said, "Look, give us a chance, can I have a go at this?"
And you mentioned the rights to Calendar Girls there. I read another story this week that the rights to the amateur productions of Calendar Girls were up for grabs. Amateur rep companies could perform Calendar Girls for a limited time. Isn't your mum in one of those productions?
I don't have to bring that up. Yes.
But I have done.
Yes, you have, and I had to then suffer taking my own kids to go and see that, which was, there's taking your family on a holiday in a tent in a rainy field, and then taking them to see your mother, taking her clothes off in the village hall, and it was quite a night. It was quite a night. I mean, I have to say, I sat at the back because I don't go and see these shows very often, and I think she did quite a good job with it, and they all did. And we've taken the professional production off, so that the amateurs have 18 months to do this show. And what's beautiful about it, and I didn't realise this, but a lot of the companies have talked between each other about their experiences, and they're all planning this party in London sometime next year where the companies all get together.
With clothes on,
I hadn't even thought about that, but yes, I hope so.
My thanks to Tim Firth and to Daniel Evans. This Is My Family is at the Sheffield Crucible Studio Theatre until the 20th of July. The Daft Punk album Random Access Memories, riding high in the charts around the world, tips its hat to the pioneers of modern dance music, most notably to producer and composer Giorgio Moroder. He has a cameo role talking about his life on the track Giorgio by Moroder. The Italian-born musician composed the Oscar-winning score to the film Midnight Express, soundtrack for American Gigolo, Flashdance, Top Gun and Scarface, as well as pop hits including the Donna Summer classic I Feel Love, which created the template for so much electronic dance music. Moroder usually confines himself to the studio control room and rarely gives interviews. But after Daft Punk, it was Front Row he agreed to talk to. On the line from Los Angeles, Giorgio Moroder told me how he first saw the creative potential of the synthesizer in the early 1970s and put it into practice when working with Donna Summer.
The idea of having an album, Donna Summer, doing the 50s, the 60s, the 70s sounds, I wanted to have a future kind of a sound. And I remember I said the only way to do it is with a synthesizer. And I said to myself, I want to do the whole song, except the voice, of course, with synthesizers. And that was the big Moog, and I started with the bass line. Then, using the white noise of the Moog, I created the hi-hat, the snare, some percussion stuff. And then I added some chords, synthesized chords, and that was the first all synthesizer recording. The only live band was the kick, the drum beat, because I couldn't find a strong and punchy enough sound on the synthesizer.
But it's interesting, isn't it, that you're making an album with Donna Summer and evoking different musical sounds to fit different eras, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, and here is a song which you wanted to make it sound like the future. And that's what you were doing, and in effect, that's what you did with that song. You invented the future of music.
In fact, it's interesting because I was thinking, what could I do? At the beginning, I didn't really think I could do it with a synthesizer. So I was watching the movie Star Wars, and there is one scene in the cantina where all the guys, the monsters and the aliens, all
the
sing.
Monsters Bar, yes.
Yeah, and I thought, no, that doesn't sound like the future. It was kind of interesting, but I thought, no. It has to be something much more mechanical. And that was the idea, to use the synthesizer and especially sync it up so it's all perfectly synced.
The reason that record works so well is not just because it's mechanical and it's sequenced, is that there is such emotion and drama in there as well. And you talk about remixing, there's an amazing moment midway through the record where you go to the dropout. And Nile Rodgers has talked about this with his work with Chic, about taking everything down to really just to the bass. So that was something that was in the air at that time as well, because he, I guess, was making those sort of records around that time. Was that something that was already happening, taking it down to its kind of constituent parts?
The record had so few instruments that you're kind of forced to take it down, because if you want to change a little bit, what else can you do? You cannot add something. So that was one of the reasons I took it out, and at one point you only hear the bass line going on, and it kind of changed a little bit my view on how to mix a piece or let's say remix by taking out stuff.
The dramatic element of that song is also enhanced by the fact that there are not many vocal lines to it. There's not a lyrical story being played out. It's all in the suggestion, a very sexual suggestion running through that song. And it plays out like a small film in their head. It's like a mini soundtrack. Were you already working on soundtracks? Was that an ambition of yours, or did it lead to the big screen?
That was the reason Alan Parker called me. He loved I Feel Love, and there is one scene in the movie Midnight Express where the kid runs away and he thinks he's safe, so he runs away. And then Alan said, "Okay, you do whatever you want in the movie, play wherever, whatever, but give me something like I Feel Love that feel in that scene when he runs away, to give the feel, okay, he's running away and he's probably going to be free and not go to a jail in Turkey." So that was the only requirement of the director, and that came out as The Chase, the song The Chase.